going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 9 of our Chel Stars podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple more signings happening around the league. Nothing major happened as we're still in the off season. But today, we're going to finish off our fantasy rankings with the top 10 centers. We left the centers for last as we felt kind of this is more of a crucial position in terms of fantasy, and some or most of the best players in the NHL fill the center position. We also have another fan interaction question that we asked last week that we're going to be talking about, which we'll probably be doing every week here on out because they're fun to do and it's good to get everybody kind of involved. Max, you want to discuss some of the first contract signings there?
Yeah, thank you, Mikey, and welcome back, everyone listening. So like you said, we only have three kind of signings really to go over here. Firstly, I want to immediately go to Kyle after this one because Evan Rodriguez, after initially being rumored to go to the Canucks, ends up signing for 1 year, $2 million. Kyle, give us your thoughts on that since you're the Avs fan here.
Yeah, it was a steal of a deal. Was he rumored to go to the Canucks? Is that what's happening?
I do remember there being a thing. Mikey can probably confirm that, though.
Yeah, there was rumors, but there's nothing set in stone. As we've seen all throughout this offseason, none of the rumors honestly really came true. So, I mean,
that's true.
Yeah. Not one of them. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, super stoked. Finally have a second line center that's played second line center before. I still think Newhook will give Ebrod a run for his money and try to fight for that role, but it's good to have a couple guys that can fill in.
Yeah, be interesting to see. You guys got plenty of options on an already stacked team, so
yeah,
just make it better. Why don't you?
Yeah, because if Newhook wasn't able to fill into that position, then it was either going to be Landeskog or Rantanen playing second line center. So thankfully, there's going to be a lot more versatility to the lineup with somebody else who could fill in there.
Is he going to be as inconsistent as he was on Colorado, like he was on Pittsburgh?
Oh, probably. Hopefully not, but I mean, he was playing with Crosby and he was inconsistent, so nobody on the Avalanche is a better player than Sidney Crosby, so...
Yeah, Mikey would truly know about his inconsistency after having him for about 2 weeks last year in fantasy.
Yeah, man, like, come on. He was super hot, so I decided to pick up him in free agency like anybody else would with a hot player like that. You think they'll keep going, but nah. He literally just fell off the face of the earth as soon as I picked him up. Like, literally no benefits to it. But new season, I guess. New team.
Better team.
All right. Moving on here, next big news for signings, we have Jordan Kyrou, who was not a UFA, as we all probably knew. He's RFA next summer, and he re-signs for 8 more years at 8.125, which is the same as Robert Thomas, who they just signed earlier this summer as well. So they signed 2 younger pieces long-term. Corey, Aaron, how about you guys chime in here?
Yeah, I mean, I really like this one purely because of the age. He's not like a fresh 21. He's not sort of getting over the hill at 30. Like, 25 is a really good age to be signing for 8 years. Like, he's really going to be in his prime for most of that contract. And it doesn't start till next year, I believe, too, you were saying.
It is.
So, yeah, I'm a fan of that one. Corey?
Another young player signed a long deal. He's really only had 1 year, over a point per game, but again, they've locked him up long term, so kind of the norm that we're seeing recently, kind of similar to Ottawa's deal with Tim Stützle, so hopefully it works out for St. Louis, and seems like a good player, so.
Yeah, very similar deal. Pretty much all of them nowadays are around that similar age mark, going for similar deals. 8x8, that seems to be the new 8x6 that we saw a couple of years ago.
6x6.
Yeah, that too. Don't mention Louis Eriksson. All right, and pretty much last piece of news, because there wasn't really much else. Earlier today, actually, at least one of my favorite players and Canuck favorite over here, and I knew New York loved him a lot. Tyler Mott finally signs for Ottawa for 1 year, just a bit over $1 million. I think we can all say we definitely like this signing.
I mean, he's just
Yeah,
such
I
a
even
good
said,
depth
yeah.
addition, right? Like he's just a player that does everything and he never stops working hard. Like he's definitely going to be super helpful to Ottawa. And I know we were all probably a little bit sad they didn't come back to the Canucks at some point here.
He was great on the Canucks fourth line, man. Like the fact that they couldn't even sign him for that much, like just to have a fourth line guy like that to play with Lazar and whoever else
They
on
tried.
left wing. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like he played his heart out in the playoffs and played so well too when he was there, and even during the regular season. I know he missed some time with injury, but he came back and he was like still the same mod. I definitely like him too, and I said that was a great signing earlier as well by Ottawa. They're just keeping they're keeping their signing streak, like good signing streak alive. I'm trying to say, like they've made some good signings this offseason.
Yeah.
So why was Mott not more coveted? Like, what did he sign for? Can someone remind me? Is it 1 times 1?
It's 1 year, and then it's 1.35 mil.
Okay, like I mean, didn't seem like there was a lot of teams after him, and he signed for relatively cheap, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, like Aaron just kind of posed there. I think it kind of got cut off, but I wonder if the Canucks even tried to get him, or if they're just too full of, just an influx of forwards right now.
Yeah, I would probably think not, but
yeah, I would.
I'm curious how many offers he had,
yeah,
and if he could just pick and choose where he went, or because this late in free agency, I doubt there was. Like, I'm sure that there were a couple teams interested, but I wonder what else is.
just a 1 year as well.
Yeah. Not much of a commitment whatsoever.
Yeah, I doubt many teams offered, or he had many on the table, because I don't think teams would be waiting this long to see if he signed with them or not, because they kind of need to get their rosters together. So,
yeah,
who knows really if he was looking for more money or more term, and clearly didn't get it. So.
But a guy like that, you're not usually giving more than like a year or two to.
No, definitely not. Yeah. But he's definitely not
Ottawa
up there in age, though, so I don't see anything wrong with getting him 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I wonder what else is going on behind the scenes that might keep teams away.
Well, we'll never know, surely.
No, that's true. That's true. But Ottawa, though, having like the best off season in recent memory of any team, just went from a team that.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, you're totally right. Yeah. On paper, though, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I like what they've done, for sure.
Yeah.
The one thing I can't get over, though, is that they have not addressed their defense at all. I think they're really hoping that Jake Sanderson can come in and play a lot of minutes, because they've addressed, they've added a lot of forwards, and their top six is looking pretty lethal, and even their bottom six is, but their defense haven't changed, and I feel like Shabbat's still looking like he's going to play 28 minutes a night, basically. So, yeah, we can probably move on here.
I don't think relying on a rookie to come in and
definitely
heavy lift is going to be good, but in a couple years, I don't see that being an issue.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I can continue to bring in another NHL caliber defense.
Okay, moving on. Today we are closing out our fantasy rankings. So thank you for sticking with us through all the positions. Closing out with our top 10 centers from 10 down to 1. And again, these are our fantasy rankings, so we're keeping in mind point system for fantasy pools and things like that. And I have the honor of starting us off with number 10. So coming in at number 10 is Mika Zibanejad. Now, I've had the pleasure to have this player many a times, and years past, and he has done well for me in a lot of pools. The New York Rangers are a up and coming team. He's their top center. Only thing I'll say about Zibanejad is he's streaky. Like, this guy goes cold and then goes hot and just scores like back to back hat tricks, as I know Max knows, and then he'll kind of go cold again. Yeah, but just for the listeners, like, it seems every time I have Zibanejad, every time I play Max in fantasy, it seems like Zibanejad just goes off and just has like the best week like in the history, and then he'll disappear again until I play Max again. So that's just kind of our inside joke there.
That always happens, man.
But yeah, I mean, I think a solid pick. New York Rangers are getting better. They're a good team. He's going to be one of their top forwards. Aaron, do you have any comments with Mika?
I think my main comment would be that you didn't include him in your top 10 rankings, Corey. As a big Zibanejad fan, I mean, the rest of us, minus Mikey, all had him 9 or 10, but yeah, that seems like a bit of an oversight on your part there.
Yeah, I think subconsciously I don't want anybody else to pick him, so I don't want you to know how good he is.
Reverse psychology.
You're a little reverse psychology there.
I'm on a Kyle here with the Soros pick.
Yeah.
I think when I was doing my rankings, I had him at 10, but I chose to slot. I switched and put JT Miller at 10, so he would have fallen at number 11 for me. So that's there. Okay, moving up ahead, number 9, we have Sebastian Aho. Kind of similar. So Carolina, again, a really solid team. And this guy's he's a young, hitting his prime player right now. He's their top line center. Been hitting career years, kind of progressing each year. And I think we all expect a good year from Carolina as well. I know I do. Looking at where he was ranked, 8, 9, 9 again, 10. So I guess kind of similar to Zibanejad. I'll go to Kyle. Comments. Kyle had him at number 9. Any comments for Aho for us?
I think Carolina got better this year, so I mean, hopefully, with some of the additions that they made. So they should be a team that's going to have a wicked season, and I think Aho will be one of the factors for that.
Definitely. Any other comments, Max, Mikey, on 2 players, Zibanejad, Aho, coming in at 10 or 9?
I mean, I don't mean to kind of put it back on you again, but you're the only one that didn't have him in the top 10. So I'm going to go right back to you here.
Yeah, okay. I guess I had, looking at my list, I guess I had, some of our veterans like Tavares and Stamkos over some of these new guys. And again, I really just don't want people to pick these players because I want to pick them. So I'm just trying to draw attention away from that. But no, they're probably 11, 12 for me. So again, teams that are, like Kyle said, they're going to have great years. So no, I wouldn't have them very low, but just a little outside of my top 10. That's all.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Number 8.
Oh, number 8, that's me. We're going to do Mr. Sidney Crosby at number 8. We have him listed there. Sidney Crosby, obviously everybody knows. Sidney Crosby is one of the best centers to ever play in the NHL. I think we had him a little bit lower just because of his previous injuries. Honestly, if he's healthy throughout a season, even at his age, he still puts up points. He plays with Jake Gensel. He'll play with any other left wing. He'll make they'll get a bunch of points together. If he stays healthy, he'll put up numbers, but that's just the if part about it. It's if he can stay healthy. I know Corey likes to take him a lot in fantasy, and I don't know if it pays off, but it could this season if he stays healthy, Corey. So hopefully he's your first round pick again.
Yeah, I mean, Sid's he's consistent when he's playing. He just does so much for that team. So he's just put up like good seasons year after year after year. So yeah, as long as he stays healthy, I think it's a very consistent pick. And I really liked watching his performance last playoff, last postseason, and I thought, wow, like this guy, he still has it. He's still coming to perform. So yeah, I still like Crosby as a maybe not a first round, but definitely like top 3 for sure.
And not to, like also, if he stays healthy, Pittsburgh's going to move up in the standings. Like, they're not going to end up they did good last season for sure, but I mean, just in general, like, we've seen through recent years, them winning the cup and everything like that. As long as this guy's in the lineup as your center and your captain, like, you're going to win games.
It's even more so like the team health, because you look at the team and the amount of injuries they've dealt with, like year to year. Like you talk about Malkin, you talk about Crosby, you just keep going through all the lists, and they've had some very unfortunate timing with said injuries as well. So with a healthy lineup, they are looking scary.
But they're only getting older. Like Malkin, Crosby, Letang. I don't see Pittsburgh having a great year, to be honest.
Yeah, it's almost just a matter of time until they finally sort of go over that hump.
Yeah, I think the year. I don't know if they make the playoffs this year.
Hot take.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Is that a hot take, really?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Considering they've made the playoffs every year.
I was going to say, when's the last time they missed the playoffs? It's been a while. That's okay. I didn't expect anybody to know off the top of their head, but either way.
If somebody did, that'd be crazy.
I would be pretty impressed.
Didn't they technically lose like that bubble playoffs in like the qualifying round? So they didn't technically qualify for the playoffs?
Technicality, yeah.
Technicality, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. They lost to like Columbus or something.
No, they lost to Montreal.
Oh, no, yeah, it was Montreal. You're right.
Yeah. Carey Price, outstanding.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enough about the best player to ever play in the NHL, Mr. Crosby. Number 7. Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling like Corey right now. Number 7, we got the fan favorite.
Player to play in the NHL?
Yeah, the second best player to play in the NHL right now, in my opinion, is JT Miller of the Vancouver Canucks. JT Miller at number 7. I mean, we already talked about him so much throughout the podcast. So he hits, he'll score goals. He got 99 points last season. He's got a new kind of like top 6 with him. Maybe some new power play options potentially. I don't want to hype him up too much because Kyle's just going to bring down my mood in like about 10 seconds and tell me why he's not going to get 99 points again. But I think it's a safe bet putting him at 7 because he does win faceoffs as well. And just like our pool, we count faceoffs. It might not be a ton of points, but we do count faceoffs. In our fantasy, he hits.
And that's
important. He gets points.
And
we all know how important that is.
No, we don't.
I also just want to point out everybody had Miller on their list except for Kyle. So I'm also saying that.
What? Read the asterisks, bro.
Oh, sorry. Had Miller 6th on winger rankings. Okay.
So why do you consider him a winger?
Because I'm used to him being a winger in like NHL.
He's considered left wing center on Yahoo, so we're gonna go with him as center.
Okay.
But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? I'll go to Kyle first because obviously fan favorite. We all will have the same opinion, but Kyle.
I just have him on there because he's pretty well rounded when it comes to like the stats that he's generating, and he like when it comes to like blocks, hits, that kind of stuff, which is really huge in our league when you can find a player that's going to put up a few points and put up a few hits and blocks too. So That's why I had him higher than I would usually have him. And I hope that he can repeat last season and make whoever owns him proud.
Kyle. Question. Would you have him on your top 10 center list? Judging him as a center.
No, I would not.
Where would you have him?
Damn.
Like
probably like he would just barely miss based off of his performance last year and outlook for next year. I'd say like 12th, 13th kind of thing.
I feel like that's a hot take. Because he's just such a fantasy
at least
weapon.
he appreciates him a little. At least he appreciates him a little bit.
That's kind of where I have him too. I don't think he's gonna hit the same numbers he hit last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll and if he does, then I'll eat my words on it. But yeah.
Although I definitely think he'll do better than some of the other names you have there.
Do you think he'll do better than Aho and Zibanejad?
No.
Or Hughes?
Hughes.
Yeah, I would agree with that one with Hughes.
You agree that he'd be better than Hughes?
Yes,
I
think
think he will.
More.
He does more, like Aaron said. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's like the one thing that I kind of grappled with when I was putting Hughes at 8 in my rankings was he doesn't hit and he doesn't block shots, so he's gonna have to have a hell of a season power play.
Yeah, like if you're in just a points league, then sure, Hughes is super valuable. But in our league, where we value hits and blocks, that just kind of gives Miller quite a bit of an edge.
Yeah. He's such a asset to have on your team.
I think Miller's going to repeat. I'm not even being biased. I think Miller's going to repeat what he
How many
did.
points did he have? 99?
He might not get 99, but he's going to be up there at least like 80, 90. Like he's going to...
80
to
to
pop off.
90.
Yeah, I think for sure. He's point per game, easy.
Yeah. There's just so many power play assists he gets as well, so as long as that power play can stay going, it's definitely going to be up there in points again.
Yeah.
I always love how it's the Canucks players we have the longest talks about. I love it.
I was gonna say, so should I move it along?
We'll talk a minute about Zibanejad, and then Miller will be on his team.
It's definitely not a biased podcast.
Well, we can also blame Kyle because he always kind of like needs to like pipe us down.
Antagonize.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What? Antagonize? That's such an aggressive word. Are you saying I'm not allowed to voice my opinion? It's always antagonizing.
It's fun. I'll give it to you.
You're the one that brings all the negativity on this podcast.
No. I'll just shut up then. Moving on.
All right, number 6. Probably less of a discussion around this one. Number 6 is Steven Stamkos. I mean, pretty obvious choice, I would say. He's on Tampa. When you're on a team like that, it's hard not to pick one of their top players in the top 6. Consistent, other than his injury problems in the past, but the last few years have been, knock on wood, pretty good so far. And I mean, personally, I've enjoyed having him on my team before, so don't really have many complaints there. Corey, you had him number 9 on your rankings. That's kind of interesting. Why is that?
I just think Tampa is going to regress a little bit. I think they'll have a more pedestrian kind of year. Stamkos is still a great pick. And then I think kind of like you with the injuries, like I'm a little bit cautious because he's had a couple healthy years. I don't know if this year
it's coming.
Well, I mean, yeah, Aaron did just jinx him.
Oh no, I knocked on wood. It's okay.
Did you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, it's okay, you guys. Aaron's knocked on wood, so
it's fine. Don't worry.
You can pick him.
yeah.
All the bad juju is.
Yeah, I'm sure Stamkos really appreciates you knocking on wood there, Aaron.
He definitely does. I'm on his side.
But I think that was just my thinking there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Cool. All right, let's move right on to number 5, which is someone I know Max has a fond side for, and this is Barkov. I'm going to pass it right over to you for your opinion here.
Jesus. Okay.
Whoa.
Well, wasn't ready for this, but what can I say? I mean, he's, especially now with Huberto gone, the main man in Florida. He really carries that team. Just an elite two-way player. He's going to have a heavy workload this year as well, but I think there's not much you can knack about him. He does everything. He's always, I swear, over point per game. He has had some injury issues in the past, but for the most part, he's been pretty healthy, and just someone I like having on my team. So no one take him, please.
Can I?
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, why do you have Barkov down at 7? My question.
Look, you guys have okay. He's not 4 or 5. I have him at 7 because I don't like Florida. Okay.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah, he has hated them.
yeah.
There's okay.
I will
Florida's
say,
like-
you have just above Barkov right now. You have Jack Eichel, so we can discuss this a little bit. How do you?
No,
see him?
Don't discuss this yet.
Okay, okay. I guess
Just
yeah.
Just be prepared.
You know what? We'll wait on this one. To be fair,
Yeah.
I think there could be a bigger argument.
Just a little preview, I guess.
A little preview, sneak
Okay.
peek. Yeah,
I guess
mean,
we'll jump into number 4, or
Yeah, go
I don't
right
really.
ahead.
Yeah. Number 4, Stanley Cup champion Nathan McKinnon is coming here. He's never hit 100 points, so I think this is the year that he hits 100 points. Obviously, I don't
Bias,
think
but
he's.
true.
I mean, I hope we'll find out, right? If he can stay healthy, I find Colorado kind of like gives their stars a lot more rest days than most of the other teams. So he always misses like 2 or 3 game stretches a couple times during the year. So it's been tough going, but I think he'll hit 100 points this season. Anyone else?
Yeah, see, that's
Well-
the main reason that I had him. All of you had him 4th. I had him 5th, just because of that reason, where he's just always missing games, and he seems to just be injured for little stretches very consistently. So as much as he's probably a stronger player, it's just kind of unpredictable sometimes having him on your team.
Yeah, I'd
Sure.
agree. I've had him on my fantasy team, and he also missed some patches here and there, and I didn't really know about the whole resting thing, but it makes sense since Colorado does seem to have always, just the extra 2-3 days off almost, and
I don't
He's
think it
great
is
in a
like.
playoff pool for sure. He's great in a playoff pool.
Oh,
if you're
yeah,
playing,
definitely.
well,
if you're
Well-
if you're playing in a playoff,
For the first round, he's good, and then he just gets quiet after that.
okay.
I mean, that's just a fact. Have you seen his stats when it comes to like the first series versus like any other series? He'll put up like 2 points per game the first series, and then as soon as he has to face a bit harder competition,
he just lets McCarr take over. Hey,
yeah, exactly. He just lets the world's best defenseman take over. Yeah, and back to the resting. I don't think it's like rest. I think it's just Colorado's a bit more just like careful with like the little injuries, and they're just able to kind of address that quicker before it turns into something bad. Although it does piss off me and a lot of other Colorado Avalanche fans, because like it'll be like 20 minutes before puck drop and they're like, Rantanen's not going to play it tonight, and then he's out for like a week for what seems like no reason. Hopping into number 3, we got Leon Draisaitl. I mean, what else can you say other than he plays power play with McDavid, and that's pretty much all you need.
he's one of the best centers in the game. He can play make really well.
Yeah,
Can
and
score really well.
benefits from, that Edmonton team with McDavid. Points are going to come. He's a great player in his own right. Yeah.
Because he usually doesn't play on McDavid's line during the regular season. He'll be like 1-2 with McDavid. He'll play with the power play, but he'll play on the second line with, who is he playing with? Yamamoto and someone else?
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Garvey.
Kind of flip-flops, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like even 5-on-5, he's a great player, and he's not playing with McDavid until the playoffs.
He was. Remember? It was the Calgary series. He was he not the best player in that series?
Are you talking
No,
Was it-
McDavid was.
I mean, McDavid's
Yeah.
hard to beat that.
Was it against LA? There was one series where, or there was a few games where he just
I mean, he
carried.
played on like through a lot of injuries, and I know I'd have to
Right.
check, but I know he
his
had
foot
like
was mangled.
3 points a game and
Yeah.
average. Like him and McDavid just absolutely killed the competition.
Mhm.
His
I
foot
mean-
was mangled, and he was still just one of
Yeah.
the best players, right?
I just want to say in our fantasy playoff pool, I had the opportunity to have McDavid and Draisaitl, but I chose Markstrom over Draisaitl. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. Markstrom was great for me because he made it, he made it far, but having those two together, I don't know. I think I took a L on that one.
Mhm.
Just a bit. And I just looked, and he had 32 points in 16 games in the playoffs.
Crazy.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's
That's
phenomenal.
crazy.
25
Decent.
assists. Alrighty,
Yeah,
so we can probably move on to the top two here. I mean, I think everyone can probably narrow down who we have in the top two.
I would hope so.
I would hope so.
Ederson?
Maybe next year. No, so coming in at number two. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, moving.
Anyways,
on.
Max, you were saying?
Continue.
Continuing on here. Coming at number two, we all unanimously said that Austin Matthews is our second ranked player, right behind McDavid. No shocks there. So, I mean, I don't think there's really much to say about these guys. I mean, they're both bona fide stars. In the league, they score a lot of points. Matthews scores a lot of goals, so that maybe gives them a little bit of an edge there. But McDavid just piles on those assists, and maybe is a little bit safer of a team, I would say, going into this year. But I mean, I'll jump over to Kyle if you want to give your point. I mean, we all had McDavid over Matthews, so why'd you do the same?
I mean, it's such a tight race. That's a really hard-hitting question. I'm really caught off guard.
Well, I have to point out
Why'd
someone.
you do what we all did, Kyle?
Why'd you not be different?
How
Where's
dare you
Saros?
conform?
Yeah, where's this decision?
Saros is Kyle's number one center.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know where McDavid was way down there for me. Saros was definitely right up there. This is actually a really close decision for me. I kind of wanted to be different because when we all have the same top 4 or 5, like it gets kind of stale. But Matthews, with how many goals he scores and how valuable goals are in our pool, he has the potential to be the best center. But McDavid's just old reliable, like especially looking back to what he did last year in the playoffs. I mean, he just found another gear, and he could put up over 120 points this season casually. Like, he's just that much better than the entire rest of the league. So
I honestly just don't even see anybody picking. Like, if whoever has the first pick in our fantasy draft, I don't see anybody else going besides McDavid. Like, in all honesty, so that's kind of
we have had Kyle pick Matthews before first.
that's
yeah,
true.
that was
but
a
I
few
mean,
years ago before McDavid was like far and away the best player in the league. Like, it was still like Crosby McDavid kind of thing. That
I mean,
was
to
what,
be fair,
like,
Matthews did finish first in our league this year. It was
Did he?
within like a couple points, but close
Yeah.
enough to argue that pick as a first pick.
probably
absolutely.
because of the goals. Yeah, 100%.
I think it's harder to replicate a high number of goals. So while Matthews had 60 goals last year,
Yep.
and he certainly is, goals are higher point value, like Kyle said, and he's certainly a great goal scorer. He's going to get more goals than McDavid. It's like McDavid is still going to score probably 30 and get a ton of assists. Matthews, I guess it's more of a risk to assume he's going to score 60 again, even though he should get 40 plus.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's just slightly safer of a pick, McDavid is.
Mm-hmm. totally.
I could also see Matthews getting just as many goals though. Like it's not like he was shooting ridiculously stupid numbers. He's just that good of a shooter.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
no,
missed some games too.
Yeah.
Yeah, not disagreeing.
Yeah, 73 games. So I mean, if he played 9 more games, he plays a full 82 next year. You can almost assume he gets maybe 60 again.
Another good fan question would be Matthews or McDavid. I think.
Yeah, we'll put that up on our Instagram for sure.
Ooh, do that. That's a good.
I think that's definitely a good debate.
Yeah, I think that for between us, it's pretty easy debate, but there was definitely an argument to put Matthews there, and it wasn't that easy of a decision to make for me, myself, I would say.
I mean, you could argue who you'd rather have on your team, or
Who would you rather build your team around, type of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, who's the faster skater, things like that.
Should we move on to our dark horses?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you want to kick us off?
Yeah, you want me to start it off? For sure. Okay, so I originally had 3 dark horses because I feel like these 3 players could easily, be like top 15. But I'm just gonna kind of do I'm just gonna do my 2 because I can't really choose between the 2. I got Philip Daniel on the LA Kings, and I have Vincent Trocheck. I'm choosing these 2 because, I mean, Daniel coming in on LA, he's got a new kind of top 6 with him with Kevin Fiala. I don't know if they're going to be playing together, but that just kind of increases his chances on the power play to score more. And he's great defensively as well too. So I mean, like some more block shots, he'll hit some more. He'll put up points as well too. He's no slouch in that area. And Trocheck, having him in the past on fantasy, he's all around as well too. He may not be like your top center, but he'll do everything that like a second line center would, or like a third line center would, to get you points in fantasy. So those are kind of why I chose those 2 guys. What do you guys think in regards to that?
I mean, as someone who's also had Trocheck, I do agree with that pick a lot. I like it. He's going from a very good team to another very good team, I would say, in New York. So he'll have some.
I think he's being blessed in his career. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's playing on good teams.
A player that really does everything. He plays on top power play, he hits, blocks, similar to
face-off win,
just all over. And yeah, face-offs, very important.
What are these things you're talking about? Face-offs? Sounds useless to me. I do think Dano's an awesome pick, though.
Yeah.
As well, because like you say, he just does everything right. And last season he really found his own. Like Montreal, he didn't score many goals. He was more of a shutdown center, but LA's kind of got him doing everything, which is really good to see.
Yeah, now he has more options, I feel like, too. Like, he's got, like, LA's going to be a better team, and he's got more options for scoring, so he'll put up assists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all right. Looking at these dark horse picks, let's go with Maxwell. Maxwell, you got an interesting one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you were really roasting me for this one before we start recording, as usual with most things I do with you.
Shade.
So I have from the Florida Panthers, Anton Lundell. Finished his rookie season with them last year, finishing with 44 points in 65 games on a very killer third line with Reinhart. And I have to double check the other line mate. Oh, it was Marchment. There you go. It was on the tip of my tongue. So they're obviously a little bit different of a team going into next year, but with him entering his sophomore season, I can see him being a very important factor for them. And for them wanting to be a contender again, they're going to need him to really pull his weight. And, with him making entry-level salary, it definitely helps for their cap situation and, for such a great player. I know Kyle is also a big fan of it, so I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, he's I mean, if you remember back a couple of years ago at the World Juniors, he was just lights out for Finland. And last season, he played a really strong role in their team. He wasn't a top six guy, but he was a solid third line center. So I think he's just going to keep on growing and being able to play with Barkov as well. He's going to learn a ton and just be a super useful player for them.
Yeah, agreed.
Who's their second line center? Bennett?
I mean, it's still probably Bennett, yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I could see Lundell kind of taking some minutes away from him, or who even knows? Who knows?
Mean, at least on every website I can see he's listed. Lundell's listed as a center and left wing. So who knows if they want to move him to a wing? But I feel like they'd rather him stick in his primary position.
Yeah, definitely. No, he'll be a great player for them for a long time. It might be tough with their salary cap situation once he gets out of his entry level deal, but
oh yeah, it will be.
but either way, like he's a solid player, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, in 2 years, Florida's going to have a very tough cap issue with a lot of their players ending. Alrighty. Yeah. So we can move on. I'll pass it over to Erin for her dark horse.
Okay, so hopefully I don't get roasted as much this week for my dark horse pick. Looking at you, Mikey.
It's always.
I mean, come on. Can you blame me?
All right. So my dark horse centerman this week is Josh Norris from Ottawa. So the reason that I chose him was purely just because of what Ottawa has done in the offseason. I think they're going to be a much stronger team this year. So when you look at his performance already last year, if Ottawa as a whole is going to perform better, I think just all of his stats are going to be going up. So he could be a sneaky pick that actually turns out to be pretty beneficial to have on a team this year. Yeah, any thoughts on that one, guys?
I don't watch too much Sens, so I don't really have much to say, but I look forward to watching them this year and learning a bit more about some of their players. I tried to watch some of their games last year. They're so god awful boring, but I think they made a ton of improvements, like I was saying earlier, and they're going to be an exciting team this year.
Yeah, I think this could be a good pick. I hadn't really thought about it until you said it, Aaron, but I think, I don't know, again, a lot about this player, but I think he's going to be a great player for the Sens. And I think some people are kind of writing off Ottawa. But again, like they've brought in they got a lot of young offense, and they add other pieces like DeBrincat, Giroux. Like they could be a high scoring team. So this could be a great pick.
One thing I want to quickly note about Norris is that he was indeed part of the trade package long ago when they traded away Erik Karlsson. So that pick is still, or that trade is still biting, them in the butt still.
Damn, Sens could really use a player like that right now. Or sorry, Sharks. I meant Sharks could use a player like that. Yeah. That's what I meant to say.
It's all good, man. They have Carlson at 10 mil a season. That's fine. That's fine.
All right, Kyle, why don't you give us your dark horse?
Yeah, my dark horse is Robert Thomas from St. Louis. Obviously, we talked about Kyrou a little bit, and I think Kyrou and Thomas kind of fall in the same category of just like really stellar young players. I think they played together last year a little bit, and they just lit it up. Thomas is a really good all-around player. And yeah, sorry, I'm kind of blanking, but yeah, Robert Thomas.
Cool.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't know why I hit a fucking wall there, but here we go.
When in doubt, just say his name.
Yeah.
All right.
Who had him last year in fantasy? Did any of you guys?
No. I want to say Rayhan might have.
Was it Rayhan? Yeah.
Who, for your fans listening, is the only member of our fantasy, league that isn't in this podcast. But we'll try and get him on for guest appearance or two.
Yeah, doctor's life's too busy.
Yep.
I'll tell you guys right now. I'm looking at Yahoo. Sorry, I'm looking at Yahoo. Nobody had him towards the end of the season. I don't know if he was dropped or anything, but nobody had him on. He was on FA.
Interesting.
Oh wow.
All right, Corey.
All right, Corey. Hey.
Okay. So as mentioned earlier, my dark horse is Jack Eichel. I did have him at number 6 on my fantasy rankings. Jack Eichel is a great player. We know that. And I think, he was unfortunately buried on a terrible Buffalo team for so long. But this guy's a competitor and wants to win. And his fresh start is going to be so revitalizing for him. You might say, his points wasn't very great. Well, yeah, it was. This last couple of years in Buffalo were brutal. Who had a good years on that team? And then
Jeff's.
Okay. And then then the injury issues. He clearly didn't want to be there. Basically, fighting with management. Now he's going to a Vegas team, and yes, goaltending may be an issue with Vegas, but he's their. He should be their top center. He's got players like Marchessault, Riley Smith, Carlson, Mark Stone. So they've got a solid forward group. He's gonna be the face. Basically, he's gonna be the face of this team, and he's gonna have tons of opportunity. So I think this could be a big year for Eichel, and I think we're gonna see a new Eichel. And I think if he's gonna hit the potential, which I don't think he has since he's been drafted, I think this guy's a franchise player. I think he can carry a franchise and be up there with, I would say, the Draisaitl McKinnon type players. So if he's going to do it, it's going to be in the next few years in Vegas. So I'm for sure taking Jack Eichel as my dark horse.
Yeah, to be fair, as soon as Eichel went to Vegas this season, they kind of instantly started falling apart, mainly injury-wise. So we didn't really get a chance to really see him on a strong Vegas team yet. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Corey. He definitely could have a much different season this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his talent. There's no question about his talent. I think the biggest question is just how he's. With the injury status that he had and his surgery, how he will kind of perform after that. But I'm hopeful, and I feel positive that because I remember watching him in Buffalo. This guy's a competitor. He wanted to win, and that team was just terrible. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see more of him in the Pacific.
My question is, Corey, would you pick Eichel in this fantasy draft coming up in a couple of weeks? Would you pick him before Barkov?
Well, here's the thing. You guys all have Eichel lower on your list, so I could probably take Barkov and then wait around and then take Eichel.
Okay.
After all the good points you made today, he might move up a little higher.
Yeah, right? That's why, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be too busy taking Zibanejad and Aho, so it's fine.
Fair.
Crosby.
Number 1. Pedersen, let's go.
Who do you think has higher upside for this season, Miller or Eichel?
Miller.
Miller.
For upside, definitely Eichel, but I think it's
okay.
Well, okay, yeah, upside. Eichel doesn't.
So
he can only go up here. Come on, for better season, Miller.
I should have worded it better. Who's gonna have a better season?
Miller.
Wait. Oh, okay.
Usually your questions are a lot harder than that, not gonna lie.
I was told not to have any hard questions.
Well, at least prepare us for them, because usually you just bring them on us. And yeah. All right, Mikey, I know you wanted to make a point here.
Did I?
Yeah.
About
Not about
what?
Miller and Eichel. It's a different point.
Lindholm.
There you go.
Oh yes, thank you. Yeah, okay.
Didn't
Sorry,
want to
I just
spoil it.
completely blanked. I blanked right like as Kyle did too earlier. So
I respect it.
we did our wingers rankings last time, and we didn't include Pasternak. I gave Pasternak a shout out. I also want to give Lindholm a shout out. I think Lindholm is easily like top 12. I had him on my 10th. I had him number 10 on my fantasy rankings. I just don't want to like forget the good centers who actually like he's Selke nominated, scores goals, puts up points. I think he should be in there too, but again with the averaging with all of our lists didn't work out. So
Yeah. I mean, he'll probably maybe be playing with Huberdeau, so pretty good line mate to have over there.
yeah, that'll be gross for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, we can move on here to our fan question from last week. So our question to you guys were, who is your dark horse centerman? So we kind of covered a few here, and I know Mikey shares similar results as some of our fans there. So as he already kind of briefly talked about, we had answers about Trocheck and Philippe Donol. Another two that I really liked. I'll start off with Dylan Cousins. I believe that's how you pronounce it. With Buffalo, looking to have a pretty big breakout year on a team that is looking to get a lot better, and their team's looking actually pretty sneaky, I would say. So, anyone have any thoughts on that?
To be honest,
Buffalo's-
putting a player on a team like Buffalo is kind of scary to me, just because there's such
Yeah.
like a potential that just the team as a whole doesn't do good, and that's going to affect him a lot. But I don't personally know a lot about Cousins, so if any of you guys have deeper insight, by all means.
Nope.
I mean, the same thing as you said. Like, he's on Buffalo. It's like hard to keep track of these teams that like you watch these games, even if they're playing like Colorado. Kyle watches. We watch the Canucks. If they play Buffalo, it's just like kind of like a mindless game that we're watching in the sense like it's not really like we don't really keep up with it. But
Yeah, I mean,
he's-
like Max said, Buffalo is looking a little bit better. So, I mean, perhaps he's not someone we draft, but if Buffalo seems to be turning themselves around, he could be a sneaky pickup later in the season.
yeah,
It's hard for our leagues too, because you have to take into account there's only 6 of us. So 6 of us, we
Yeah.
draft 20 players. That's 120. Whereas these deeper leagues that have like 10, 12 teams, they get a lot more players taken. So you probably would see almost these types of players deeper down that would be drafted. But in our leagues, there's always pretty good players that aren't even drafted.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I was about to say that you hit the nail on the head there. Like in a deeper league, you need these guys like Dylan Cousins, that might not be the most consistent all year because he's still only in his second NHL season, but he's got all the skills and the potential to put together in a couple of years, and hopefully he can put together a couple good months of hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby Doc or Dylan Cousins.
Dylan Cousins, power play time,
Yeah. I agree.
more upside,
Okay. Yeah.
in my opinion.
All right, and lastly for our dark horse centerman, I really like this pick too, and I think Kyle will agree. I'll jump over to him in a second, but Marco
Yeah,
Rossi
dude.
of Minnesota. He missed a bit of time. I'd have to double check what injury he had. I know it was almost to do with COVID. He got hit with it, and he missed a lot of time, but one of their top prospects that will be looking to make a big leap into the big leagues this year. So, Kyle, what's your take?
Yeah, he got knocked out with some post-COVID complications a couple of years back, and then last year he played a couple games in the NHL, but spent most of his time in the AHL and had a pretty great season. Super skilled player. He's someone who might not be playing. He'll probably be playing like middle 6 minutes this year, but when it comes to like power play and like and late in the game, you want the puck on his stick. You want him controlling play with Kaprizov. So very exciting time in Minnesota, especially with all these young kids coming up and their team starting to come together and hopefully get through the cap woes that they're faced with and go from there. But yeah, really, really good dark horse centerman pick there.
Yeah, shout out to you.
Anyways.
Anyways, here. So our next fan question for you guys is what team is making the playoffs that missed last year? So there's lots of options to pick from here. We got a lot of teams that improved. We talked a lot about Ottawa. So next week we will be discussing, I believe we'll be discussing a lot of our division predictions. I know we went over the Pacific one a couple of weeks back. So we're sorry that the next few are so off track with the other one, but we'll go through that, and also you might see our picks on who's making the playoffs that didn't last year as well. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that about wraps us up for this week. As Max said, just make sure to head over to our Instagram to answer that fan question. We always appreciate hearing your thoughts. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week.